Now, from the Stifel Financial Sports Studio, here is Tom Ackerman.
And a good Sunday morning to you. Great to be with you. Tom Ackerman here. My daughter's graduating from high school today, so it is a great day in our family. We got a lot of family in town, and we have had a nice weekend together. But I've got to say that it has been difficult for all of us, and for my heart, just hurting for all the people here in the city of St. Louis, and having seen the destruction driving through the area. Trees are just, for those who don't live here, just to sort of describe what we see. I mean, roofs are ripped off. Some structures have crumbled to the ground, especially in North City, Central West End. Forest Park, trees just snapped like twigs all throughout the golf course, all throughout the park, along Skinker, along Lindell, Central West End has taken a huge hit. North St. Louis is just devastating. I mean, it's just devastating that our citizens have had to go through this, that people who give back, it just breaks your heart to hear of 5 deaths and of our incredible people who are searching through the rubble, our first responders, our linemen trying to restore power, our crews that are still removing debris and tree limbs and trying to pick up the pieces of St. Louis. And there are a number of ways that you can help. And I want to make sure that if you are in St. Louis or outside of St. Louis, a lot of people listen to us from around the country. And if you have, a connection to St. Louis, or even if you don't, if you're listening to us right now, we're asking you to consider helping. Go to KMOX.com. There are a number of resources there. The National Weather Service did confirm an EF3 tornado in St. Louis. It touched down in numerous spots. You can just see the path of destruction when you drive through the area. Fountain Park took it hard. Kings Highway East neighborhoods hit by an EF3. And just on and on it goes. You heard the stories in KMOX News. They need your help. There are a number of ways. So let me just read through some of these on KMOX.com for you before we get into sports. And we will. And we have a lot to do here. In just a few minutes, we're going to talk to Dan Reardon from the PGA Championship. We'll talk about the Cardinals, et cetera. The Catholic Charities of the Archdiocese of St. Louis, they are responding swiftly, and you can donate to Catholic Charities. The Urban League of St. Louis has a humanitarian fund specifically to support the tornado recovery efforts. And you can find the most urgent needs in our community are food and water, meals, groceries, bottled water. These homes and people in these homes that have been destroyed have lost power. They have lost food. They've lost everything. Basic necessities, hygiene kits, bedding, safe lodging, debris removal. They're trying to organize volunteers for debris removal right now. And then, of course, the long term. I mean, we hear in the short term another storm is about to come. But in the long term, what do we do to help? This is going to be a long road to recovery for many areas of St. Louis, specifically North City. There are shelter locations right now. There are many ways that you can help. And then there's the Red Cross. If you'd like to assist the Red Cross in responding to communities, just go to redcross.org. We are very much involved with the Red Cross, as are the St. Louis Cardinals. If you want to help with the Cardinals efforts, you just go to cardinals.com/Red Cross. And if fans are looking to donate to support relief efforts, you're encouraged to do so. I know that if you come to Busch Stadium tomorrow, I'm sure there will be ways that you can give. You can give right now. There are going to be a number of opportunities where you can give to our city. Our city is hurting right now. It is hurting, and we are counting on our leadership to guide us through this, to our first responders, our amazing teams of police and fire and EMS, but also to you and to our volunteers. Thank you. So many people have just given their day. They have dropped everything and they have gone to work. And driving through St. Louis this morning, you can see on this beautiful morning, people hard at work, clearing debris, guiding people along, helping. And it is just heartbreaking. It's just heartbreaking. I know you're like me. You love this city so much that you would do anything to help it along, and just a little bit goes a long way. So thank you for all that you've done already. The Cardinals with a great win yesterday on the other side of the state in Kansas City, 1-0. We'll talk about that among other people. John Mozeliak's got to be a happy man right now. Bernie Miklasz, we'll talk about it as well. City, it's another bad loss for them. They just cannot get it going here. And we're going to ask Lutz Pfannenstiel some questions about that at 11:15. The sporting director is going to join us on KMOX in the 11 o'clock hour. 10 o'clock hour, Blues chairman Tom Stillman will be with us at 10:45. The Battlehawks with a great win yesterday at the Dome. They do it. And I know a lot of people that were at that game, I'm certain, had a connection with the Storms, and it was just a way for them to have a distraction, a little something to cheer about, maybe have a cold one with their friends and just take their minds off it for a little bit. The Battlehawks won a battle by a final of 29-28 over the Birmingham Stallions. We'll get into them at 10:30. 10:15, it's Dan Reardon, our senior golf editor. He is coming up next from Quail Hollow in Charlotte, North Carolina, where Scotty Scheffler put on an absolute clinic yesterday. Cardinals, City, NHL, NBA, Preakness, Golf, Battlehawks, you name it. We are across the board today on this program, Sports on a Sunday Morning. We're coming to you from the Stiefel Sports Studio, and we'll be right back.
Spring is here. Time to have your valuable trees inspected by Gamma Tree to enhance the beauty and safety of your trees. I'm Tim Gamma.
I'm Tom Gamma. Don't trust your trees to just anyone. Call the pros at Gamma Tree, now in our 71st year.
Our talented staff of certified arborists can survey your trees to determine their needs, whether pruning, fertilizing, pest control, or removals at the highest level of professionalism.
Knowledge and quality are hallmarks of our reputation. Call Gamma Tree today or visit us at gammatree.com.
Your trees deserve the best care.
I'm Ultima Morgan of Morgan & Morgan. Every time one of my children started driving, it was terrifying. I am quite aware of the dangers being on the road. Thousands of accidents happen across the country. We see it every day. These families' lives will be changed in an instant. We fight for these families as if they were our own. We've become America's largest injury law firm by winning cases just like these. If you've been injured in a car accident, call us.
Injured? Dial pound law or visit forthepeople.com for an office near you.
Concerned about where your retirement is heading? Is it on track to meet your needs and goals? Are taxes and inflation a constant worry? Well, you can join Jerry Means for What Retirement Means to You, powered by Means Financial Group, and find out how their team can help guide you to that retirement you've always dreamed of. Tune into What Retirement Means to You with Jerry Means, Saturdays at 3 on KMOX, the voice of St. Louis. More details at meansfinancialgroup.com.
Life insurance. Why are you putting it off? Can't afford it? Too much hassle? Think you don't need it? There's lots of excuses for putting off life insurance. But if you weren't there, who would pay the mortgage and other bills? With Ethos, you could be covered in 10 minutes and boom, family protected. Ethos, fast and easy online term life insurance. Up to $2 million in coverage with no medical exam. Some policies as low as $1 a day. Answer a few health questions and get your free quote at ethos.com/radio. That's ethos.com/radio.
Seems everything costs more these days. Gas, groceries, and when's the last time you checked your wireless bill? When it comes to big wireless, if you're staying, you may be overpaying. Switch to Consumer Cellular to get the same fast nationwide coverage without the big wireless bill. Plans start at just $20 a month, and now for a limited time, new customers can get their second month free. Call 1-888-FREEDOM, visit a store near you, or consumercellular.com and start saving today. Plans include $5 credit for auto pay and e-billing. Taxes, fees, and other third-party charges will apply. See website for additional details.
This is Now, back to the Gray Bar Sports on a Sunday morning on 104.1 KMOX. From the Stiefel Financial Sports Studio, here is Tom Ackerman.
Good to be with you. It is the St. Louis tradition, and it is a tradition that we visit with KMOX's Dan Reardon at Major Championships, and he is at the PGA Championship at Quail Hollow in Charlotte, North Carolina. Good morning, Dan.
Yeah, good morning, Tom. Right off the top, I will say that it's been very difficult over the last day following what's happening in my hometown. So my prayers and hopes for everybody, and I'll find out what I come back to in a couple of days.
Absolutely, Dan. I led the show talking about it, and I know that we will continue this conversation for as long as it takes, years and years. We will be right here for St. Louis. And Dan, I agree with you, and I know that there's so much at stake here, and there's so much that It's just hard to fathom, isn't it, Dan? I mean, you cover golf, but you also have seen storms do damage. You have loved this city. It happened in a blink. It's just hard to figure how that happens, but Mother Nature will do her thing, and it's hard to deal with.
And as shallow as it may seem, it devastated the place that I spend a good part of my life right now, which is Forest Park on the golf course there. So, I mean, there's other priorities, and obviously people have had more tragic circumstances involving this week. But like I said, it was difficult yesterday watching that story unfold over a distance, the reporting on that. But let's talk about golf.
Yeah, let's do that. And, it was a great championship. The PGA Championship is one day from ending. It'll end at the end of the day, but it feels like it's over. I mean, I'm just, Scotty Scheffler walks in there with a 3-shot lead, and the way that he just was lurking and then pounced on the field was so impressive. He is the greatest golfer on the planet right now.
Well, I think Rory still may be the most talented, but I think Scotty is the most effective in that regard. And I joked to someone yesterday, after he made the putt on 18 to go to a 3-shot lead, I said, the only way the field has a chance to beat Scotty is if somebody has the cell phone number of the police officer in Louisville, and they can stop him at the gate.
Yeah, you're right about that. That is true.
But honestly, Tom, But honestly, the truth is this golf course has given up scores every day. 64 the first round, 64 the second round. Scotty shot 65 yesterday. So the course will give somebody a round. Right now, Chris Kirk is 4 under through 14 holes, and the conditions here are as good as they've been all week. So if somebody could mount a charge, the golf course is there for that charge. One of the problems when you try to create a scenario where it gets more competitive is it's not exactly the Hall of Fame that's chasing him. Davis Riley, maybe unknown. He's 21st on tour in scoring average in the final round. That's the good news. The bad news is Scotty's 7th on tour in scoring average. In fact, over the last dozen majors that Scotty's played in, his average score is 69. And in the PGA, his average score is 67. So all the numbers just line up in a way that I'll give you the one negative number I can give you on Scheffler. In every PGA championship he's played in, he's had at least one round where he shot over par. So this will be the most challenging round he faces because of the circumstances. But all the information suggests that this is not going to get close and exciting.
It's fascinating when you watch Scheffler operate because he seems unaffected by his surroundings. He's just out walking the golf course and playing. Internally, is anything swirling? I'm sure his competitive spirit is. But other than that, I've not seen a player quite like him. Tiger Woods' accomplishments are far beyond Scotty Scheffler, but he's the only other player I can think of who, when I watched him, was so laser focused and oblivious to everything around him.
But if I was I don't disagree with what you're saying, but if I would contrast the two, Tiger was intense in his focus. Scotty is relaxed in his focus. And, this week it was the first time I ever saw him over the course of a few days seem to get a little dour on the course. The first couple of days, he was actually, I believe I heard him on the second day drop an F-bomb on a missed putt. And was so out of characteristic for the kind of player he is. And it's that element of his personality. And I don't think it's something that's different on the inside than it is on the outside. I don't think he's disguising the circumstances. I think that's the way he has learned to be. He's learned to handle. We still fist pumps yesterday on 18, but this is not the master of the fist pump. Bryson was high-fiving everybody walking off of 15 green. We don't see Scotty will gently tap somebody if they have his hand outstretched to him. He's just that kind of guy. And then one other thing, Tom, very quickly I'll throw in. I don't know of a player, certainly today, a top player in the game, and out of all the great players in the game, who ever had the consistent recovery skills around the greens that Scheffler has. He's not the best putter in the game, but he is Jordan Spieth-like when Jordan was on his game. When Scotty makes a mistake, he's way better than 50-50 to erase that mistake.
Dan, didn't Scheffler used to be a bit of a hothead early on, that he would get very upset? I watched some stories on him and some pieces on him, and I think admittedly so. He used to let things get to him.
when he was younger, not so much as a pro has that been the case. You know, the thing about Scheffler was when he came out on tour, he had won everywhere he had played. At every level he had competed, he was the best. And when he came out on tour, he was very, very good. But he had a thing about the third round, and he could never get through the third round. So he went for a period of time where he was the best player on tour without a win. And then the magic moment for Scottie Scheffler, and he freely admits it's one of them, the magic moment came when he took on Jon Rahm, who is now chasing him, in the Ryder Cup at Whistling Straits. And he beat Rahm head-to-head. And Rahm had just run through the rest of the field with a bulldozer. He had demolished every opponent in the Ryder Cup. And Scottie played like the fifth or sixth match out, and he just controlled Jon Rahm throughout the entire final day of the Ryder Cup. Now, they won running away, but all the players on the American team watched what Scottie was doing, and they knew this was the player they were going to have to compete with in the future. And since that time, I mean, the script has been written.
Scottie tees off at 1:40 Central Time. What about the man that you mentioned earlier, Rory McIlroy, the Masters champion? A lot of buzz about him maybe chasing a calendar slam. That is not going to happen. He is 3 over.
I talked to somebody from Irish radio who knows Rory probably better than anybody in the media, Greg Allen. And Greg raised the question, and then he quickly dismissed it when we talked further about it. He raised the question, is it possible that Rory basically has reached his goal in life, which is the Grand Slam and the Masters, and that he may not be as great going forward? You know, the consensus is now that that burden has been lifted, he will be free and he'll be able to play at a higher level. There is always the possibility that intensity may wane a little bit. Now, what I said to Greg is the counterpart to that is he still has enormous talent. And you know, he didn't have it this week, but it really is no surprise that as much as that Masters meant to him and as recent as it was that he maybe didn't have it, I look for it to flash again, actually, not at Oakmont for the U.S. Open. I look for it to flash again when he gets back to his native country, Ireland, and he's playing at Portrush for the Open Championship. And now he's back in the kind of cauldron that the Masters created for him of intensity and emotion and desire and all those kinds of factors.
Back to Scheffler, his best finish at the Open Championship is a tie for 7th. That was last year. He has finished in 2nd place at the PGA and at the U.S. Open. He's never won a major outside of the Masters, which he has won twice. Sure looks like he's on his way to a 3rd major. What do you think the future holds for Scottie? Is the sky the limit when it comes to what he could achieve in terms of majors?
I think he opened the door to that this week. The fact that he had 2 scrappy days of 2 and 3 under par, but remained in the championship, and then found something on that second 9 on Friday and carried that into the Saturday round. Keep in mind that he had 3 bogeys in his round yesterday, and he's a guy that doesn't make a lot of bogeys. And one of those bogeys was in that stretch on the back 9. But to offset those bogeys, he had an eagle and 4 birdies over that stretch. He plays the game left to right, which means he can keep the ball in the fairway. And then, as I said, he has this escapability. If he has a vulnerability, he can get a little frustrated when he doesn't make putts, when he gives himself chance after chance after chance to make birdies. But there's just so much going in his favor that it's hard to imagine that he's not going to continue to run somewhere near the level of this year, but probably not as high as last year when he won 7 events.
Just something to keep in mind for folks. Scottie Scheffler is 28 years old. I mean, I know he carries himself like he's my age. I'll be 50. I'm the same age as Tiger. I'll be 50 in July. He carries himself like he's, you know, a middle-aged guy who's played forever. He's only 28 years old. Anybody else catch your eye this week, Dan?
You know, in a negative sense, I would say Bryson. And Bryson could still win this championship. I'll say 2 things. I love Bryson. I love what he's become. I love his talent. 2 things about Bryson. He needs to win a little more. You know, he won the Open at the U.S. Open at Pinehurst, but he doesn't win a lot of golf championships. In fact, when he won it in Korea last week, it was the first time he's won on the LIV Tour in almost a year and a half. And the other thing I'll say about Bryson is Bryson has been trying to change the game, the way he swings with power, the way he manufactures clubs, the way he sets up when he putts. Nobody on tour that I'm aware of is imitating anything that Bryson does. And I think that until he gets a little more refined and not try to reinvent the wheel, I think he's going to struggle a little bit. And Bryson really needs to be off of the LIV tour and into the environment of, he gets energized by these galleries, and he never sees these galleries except 4 times a year.
Yeah, he is the people's champ. How are the galleries at Quail Hollow? And then while you're answering that, how is Quail Hollow? What are people saying about the golf course?
If you rate them on a scale of 1 to 10, they're both about 12 or 13. Quail Hollow is the best venue I have ever been to at a major championship in terms of everything that it offers, including the way the press operation of the PGA of America has been this week. And in terms of the gallery, I joke that if you went into the merchandise tent or the pro shop, it was like being in an ant farm when the farm was built out of sugar. This place is just overwhelmed with enthusiasm. You realize this is a tour stop. They'll be back here next year for the Truist Championship, and this is a golf community. So everything about this is spectacular, and that starts with the golf course. And it actually goes to the logistics of getting around this area as well. Now, it's great. This has been a wonderful week to be at a golf championship.
We are a tour stop on the PGA Tour Champions at the now Stifel Charity Classic. I would love to see us have a PGA Tour stop at some point along the way. The closest we have to it is Belle Reef Country Club with 2 major events coming. You have the FedEx Cup playoffs with the BMW Championship next year, and the President's Cup in 2030. Any buzz about St. Louis for next year, Dan?
I haven't heard talk about St. Louis so much next year, although the people I know, people who cover the events are the people that I'm around. And what they like about St. Louis is, one, right away, they will talk about those 2019 galleries for the PGA Championship. Over and over again, I hear that comment about St. Louis will really support an event when it comes to town. And the other thing is they like the logistics of the community as well, that they're amazed that it doesn't take an hour and a half to get to the airport, and that life is pretty simple in the St. Louis area. So, yeah, there's positive thoughts. I saw Doug Ferguson, who covers for the AP, and said, see you next year in St. Louis. They know we're on the calendar. And, yeah, people should start thinking about whether they want to be a volunteer or whether they want to be somebody at the tournament. Think about that. We're talking about Rory. We're talking about Scotty. We're talking about Bryson. Everybody but Bryson will be there next year, and John Rahm, because they can't get in, generally speaking, as LIV players.
Yeah, this is something actually that people should remember. And finally, Dan, congratulations to you on another major. I don't know what number this is for you, but it is extremely high. I know you're keeping count.
I wouldn't, because it seems sort of egotistical, but I do some work with the station in Memphis, and they always ask me the question. This is 131.
Wow. Yeah, I thought it was. I thought you were somewhere in the 125 range at 131. Man, oh man. Well, it's great, and you represent us so well, Dan. I mean, I think that when it comes to St. Louis golf, we're talking about Dan Reardon's appearances at all of these golf tournaments. And again, I know you're not going to talk about yourself in this way, but I will. You walk into a press room, they know you, and they know what you represent. You represent us at KMOX, and you represent St. Louis, and we appreciate that. And I thank you very much for it.
More than that, Tom, KMOX has given me the opportunity. KMOX is the one that carries the weight. It's not Dan Reardon. I had somebody just come by this morning and said, "Oh, KMOX. KMOX is my entry point into all these championships," and I have genuine gratitude for all these 40-something years of doing this with a station with that kind of reputation.
Thank you, Bob Hyland. It was him, right?
Absolutely. Mr. Hyland is the one that gave me the chance.
Thank you for this, Dan. We look forward to the next one. But again, we'll hear your reports tomorrow morning. It's going to be, I think, Scotty Scheffler walking away with this, but who knows? I mean, that's why they play. So we'll see what happens. Dan, appreciate it.
Enjoyed it, Tom.
Thank you. Dan Reardon, KMOX senior golf editor, with us on Sports on a Sunday morning. Boy, that just sings KMOX and sports, doesn't it, when you hear Dan Reardon talking golf from a major championship. When we come back, we'll get into something that's a little newer, and that would be the UFL. The championship is coming back to St. Louis. Will the Battlehawks be part of it? And what could that look like? What's the date of the championship? Where is it going to be played? And how many people are going to jam in there? We'll be back in just a moment. Sports on a Sunday morning from the Stifel Sports Studio.
Success is picking up extra shifts for your family. Now you want to be the boss. Success is getting your foot in the door. Now you want to take the next step. Success looks different to everyone, and University of Maryland Global Campus can help you reach your goals. And there's never been a better time to get started on your future. Apply now and save with no application fee. As an accredited state university, UMGC has been transforming lives for over 75 years. With more than 135 undergraduate and graduate degrees and certificates, online and hybrid courses, personalized support, financial resources, and lifetime career services, achieving your dreams is more possible than ever before. Choose the program that's right for your career goals and get started on your next success. No application fee if you apply by May 30th. Learn more at umgc.edu. Certified to operate in Virginia by Chev.
Just a reminder to have your air conditioner checked for the summer so you don't have a mishap and it goes down in the hottest day of the year. But it's always best to have it done. Call us and we'll be more than happy to come out there and check it for you. And like always, if you're having your furnace checked by another company and you are told that this is the year you need to replace it, call me for a second opinion. The 0% interest is still available on most brands. Save your cash and keep your credit cards open and away from those high rates. Call me. You'll be glad you did. Bart Inman, one easy number in Missouri and Illinois. The easiest. It is 314-293-2600 or on the website bartinman.com. Now that's Bart with a B, Inman with an I.com. God bless.
Want to retire in 5 years or less? You can do it, just like Lifestyles Unlimited member Lisa.
So we started passively. It was on vacation is when we realized we really need to take the plunge and be more active in this. Just because I'm an educator, I wanted to really know what I was doing. So it was just education on my part is really big. And I'm like, well, I could do that.
Text the word radio to 88007. That's radio to 88007. Join for just $297, a 60% savings. Lifestyles Unlimited. Text radio to 88007.
KMOX Weekend at your service, sponsored by Air Comfort Service Heating, Cooling, and Insulation.
Hey, it's Tom Ackerman. Chesterfield Fence and Deck, the sign you have the very best. ChesterfieldFence.com. On this Sunday morning, a beautiful morning, hope you have an opportunity to sit outside and have a cup of coffee if you are on your backyard deck. If you're looking out there and saying, I could redo this, maybe a new fence, maybe a new patio, it's ready for you at Chesterfield Fence and Deck. All you have to do is go to ChesterfieldFence.com and get yourself in line for a visit, and it'll be a free consultation. You can also call them if you'd like, but I would suggest two things: ChesterfieldFence.com, or go to their showroom, which is located in Chesterfield Valley. You'll be very happy that you did that. It's like walking through somebody's neighborhood. All of the great patios and sunrooms and everything else they have to offer, you can touch and feel all the fencing. It's Chesterfield Fence and Deck. The sign you have the very best. Mention me, Tom Ackerman. You'll receive 48 months interest-free financing on your next outdoor project from Chesterfield Fence and Deck. They have been around since 1968. If you've been doing it that long, you are absolutely doing everything right. ChesterfieldFence.com.
We all hear the radio ads about the IRS. They tell you to be afraid, to be scared, and they try to frighten you into calling. I'm not here to do that. Tax Relief Advocates is different. TRA is here to tell you that if you owe money to the IRS, whether it's $5,000, $50,000, or $500,000, we have a solution. It doesn't matter if you're sitting in your car, at work, or with your kids. No matter where you are, call now. 800-575-6481. Don't lose hope. TRA can eliminate or reduce what you owe to the IRS. Generous programs are now available that can give you a fresh start. Our passion is taxes and helping individuals fix their IRS problems. We have over 1,000 5-star reviews on Google and an A+ with the Better Business Bureau. You don't need to be afraid of the IRS any longer. End your tax nightmare today by visiting us online at TRA.com or call 800-575-6481. That's 800-575-6481. Tax Relief Advocates. Real solutions for real people.
Now, back to the Gray Bar Sports on a Sunday morning on 104.1 KMOX. From the Stifel Financial Sports Studio, here is Tom Ackerman.
Hey, let's do what we call in this business a reset. So all of the sports headlines of the day, starting with the St. Louis Cardinals. Take a listen to this.
Daniel Lynch, the fourth, pitched in the game last night. He's backing up Cameron. Here's a swing and a high fly ball. Hit to deep left field. It might go. It's a gunner. A home run for Jordan Walker, his third of the year, and the Cardinals are on the board in the sixth.
Cardinals get a big home run out of Walker. That was one of only 2 hits on the night for the Cardinals. A 422-foot clout off the bat of Jordan Walker. And that's all they needed. Miles Miklasz was great yesterday. He pitched 6 sharp innings. He was very good. He handed it over to the bullpen, and the Cardinals' defense was spectacular. Victor Scott, the second, with a great catch in the 4th inning. Brendan Donovan made some huge plays, including a dive and a flip to Mason Wynn to get the final out in the 8th. In the 9th inning, it was Mason making a diving play and then makes a nice little throw over to first that bounces over to Wilson Contreras. Just a very tough play to make off balance, and the Cardinals make it, and then Ryan Helsley gets the save. It was a great job as well by Kyle Leahy. He goes 2 scoreless. Cardinals are good, folks. I mean, there's no other way around it. This is a good baseball team that is continuing to learn and grow along the way. They're going to have some dips also because they're young, but they are fearless. I mean, they're out there just having a good old time, and they beat the Royals again 1-0 yesterday. They blew them out in the first game. This is another series win for the Cardinals now. They've won 12 of 13. They are a game out in the NL Central. They have not lost a series since April 23rd, and I think this is the biggest thing of all. They are 7-1 on this road trip. That was the big thing hanging on them. This team is bad on the road. What's the problem? Why can't they win on the road? Well, now they just play so well. It doesn't matter where they're playing. Home, road, parking lot, somewhere. It doesn't matter. They are playing great ball, and it's exciting to see in the Cardinals with a 1-0 win. Also winning yesterday, the St. Louis Battlehawks, and I just wanted to mention something about them. So they won 29-28 yesterday over the Birmingham Stallions, and this gets your attention because Birmingham is the defending UFL champion, and the Battlehawks, as you know, tripped up in their opportunity to get to the championship last year, losing to San Antonio here in St. Louis. Mike Martz and I had that call on 97.1 FM Talk, and it was such a great experience to be with Coach, but it was so deflating that they weren't able to win that and get to a championship at home. Now things are a little different. Max Duggan had 2 rushing touchdowns. He is not just a passer. He was a good one at TCU, but he can run. And the lead changed 6 times in this crazy football game. Both teams turned the ball over twice via fumble. There were a combined 105 penalty yards, but it was entertaining, and the Battlehawks win it 29-28. 30,114 fans in attendance at the Dome. That's what's listed by the UFL and the Battlehawks. They will have double that if they get to the championship game, and I want you to envision what this story could look like. And no, we're not sitting here talking about the not-to-be-named mustached former owner. It's not about that. This is about St. Louis celebrating sports and each other, especially going through the tough time that we went through over the last 48 hours, that we can come together and still celebrate and put 30,000 in the Dome for a football game in the spring. A league that is drawing like 4,000 to the Memphis game. That's what 4,000 people. If they have 4,000 people waiting in line for beer at the Dome, this league needs to understand and recognize what's happening in St. Louis. Can I please ask, will The Rock please step up and come to St. Louis? Is that too much to ask? I mean, the guy is the owner of the league, is he not? One of them, co-owner, and doesn't come here? Let's make a deal. Cardinals get to the championship, and The Rock comes to St. Louis to spend some time. Deal? I don't see how that's that hard. And why is that such a big deal? Because The Rock is a big name around the world and could really do some good in a city that has basically kept his league afloat, kept his league relevant with people buying merchandise and buying tickets. And I know there's more to the league, but let's be honest here. The Battlehawks are the ones that are drawing. And the Battlehawks are the ones that are putting people in the seats and creating buzz on social media. So let's go. All right. Let's get some support for St. Louis and have the Rock in attendance. And let's see what happens here. If the Battlehawks get to the championship game at the Dome, they are going to pack that place. And yes, ripples will be felt around the NFL as well. And it'll come out from fans themselves. We won't even have to do it. They'll be able to show just from that this is a great football town, period, end of story. Now, elsewhere in sports yesterday, you had the following. I told you this is going to be a reset. City with a spectacularly bad loss again, 3-0. They fall to Minnesota. We're going to talk to Lutz Pfannenstiel about that, so I'm going to hold all of my thoughts on that from when we talked to Lutz about it and what's going on there. But that is a 10-game winless skid for St. Louis. They haven't won a game in 2 months. Scotty Scheffler, as we talked to Dan Reardon, has a 3-shot lead at the PGA. Journalism won the Preakness. Stars beat the Jets. Pair of game 7s today. Florida at Toronto, Denver at Oklahoma City, and SLU softball season came to an end, but a great year for them. We'll be back with Tom Stillman after this.
I'm Dave Glover, and I see clearly now thanks to the doctors, Dr. Greg Birdie, Ranjan Malhotra, Robert Brusati, and Andy Royer. You can too. Just go to youridoc.com.
For residential and commercial heating repairs, service, maintenance, or installation, contact Air Comfort Service Heating, Cooling, and Installation. With over 50 years of HVAC service, get in your comfort zone this winter. Visit aircomfortservice.com. That's aircomfortservice.com.
You know Gray Bar for electrical parts. But there's one more thing you may not be thinking of us for that can help maximize your next project's total value. Our pre-project planning services are designed to help you win the bid, save on labor costs, and keep your installers productive across your entire build. The sooner you call us, the better. Because when we're there from the beginning, we can anticipate your needs and help you solve problems before they become problems. Yep, Gray Bar does that.
Welcome to Willie's Wings, home of the secret sauce.
I'll take a dozen wings. Oh, by the way, I love that sauce. What's in it?
Can't tell you.
Why not?
It's a secret.
While many financial advisors claim to have the secret sauce, they don't. In fact, if their sauce is so good, why are they keeping it a secret? Steve All of the All Financial Group doesn't keep anything a secret. He knows there's much more to retirement planning than stocks, bonds, and mutual funds. He'll develop a strategy designed specifically for you. It's your own secret sauce for retirement. Call Steve today at 636-230-8824 for your personal portfolio x-ray. Call 636-230-8824 or online at yourmoneymattersstl.com.
Fine, you want to know what's in the sauce?
Absolutely.
Tablespoon of paprika.
Really?
Investment advisory products and services made available through Impact Partnership Wealth, LLC, IPW, a registered investment advisor. Insurance and annuities offered through Steve All, NPN number 153-07419.
Success is picking up extra shifts for your family. Now you want to be the boss. Success is getting your foot in the door. Now you want to take the next step. Success looks different to everyone, and University of Maryland Global Campus can help you reach your goals. And there's never been a better time to get started on your future. Apply now and save with no application fee. As an accredited state university, UMGC has been transforming lives for over 75 years. With more than 135 undergraduate and graduate degrees and certificates, online and hybrid courses, personalized support, financial resources, and lifetime career services, achieving your dreams is more possible than ever before. Choose the program that's right for your career goals and get started on your next success. No application fee if you apply by May 30th. Learn more at umgc.edu. Certified to operate in Virginia by Chev.
Now, back to the Gray Bar Sports on a Sunday morning on 104.1 KMOX. From the Stifel Financial Sports Studio, here is Tom Ackerman.
Sports on a Sunday morning continues on KMOX, and we are joined by the chairman of the St. Louis Blues. Tom Stillman is with us. Tom, it's always great to have you on KMOX. How are you doing these days?
Great. How are you doing, Tom?
I'm doing great. You know, I'm still kind of coming down from that series. It hurt, and I know that it hurt your organization as well, and probably because the team played so well up until those final 2 minutes where they lost the lead against the Winnipeg Jets.
Yeah, it was a brutal, heartbreaking way to end a series in a run that started after the Four Nations tournament. It's something I'm sure the Blues fans will be talking about years, and so that still stings. I'm choosing to focus on the positives that came out of our run and the playoffs and all, but yeah, it does still sting.
I'm sure it does. And, it'll always be part of, and that part of sports, unfortunately, is that you have the highs and the lows. I mean, when I was growing up, the Blues completed the Monday Night Miracle. They beat the Calgary Flames. And while they didn't go on to win the Stanley Cup, we all remember how good that felt. Sometimes the other team will do that to you, unfortunately.
Yeah, that is part of being a sports fan and being in the sports business is you live with the ups and downs, and it's part of the experience. We don't want to provide heartbreaks, but it is kind of part of the whole experience, and maybe that draws us in. It's that attachment and how you experience the ups and downs along with the players on the ice. So.
How do you take a look back at not only that series, but that season? And how do you start to make the move here to get better and to get to a position where you don't have to be there again?
I really, I stepped back from those few minutes there and think that we just really had a big leap forward in our season this year. I mean, and that leap forward started with the off season, with Doug's moves of the offer sheets and acquiring Broberg and Holloway. That really pushed us forward. And then adding Monty as a coach, I think one of the really top coaches in the league, which you saw the effect he had. Adding Fowler was a revelation to a lot of people, what a good player he is and how much he added. But then just as important, what the players did and how they pulled together under the leadership of Jim Montgomery and Otter and the rest of the coaching staff. Braden Shen really took hold of the reins, I think, and they really did nothing short of change the culture the expectations of each other. And it just brought us back to, a culture like we've had in the past when we've been very successful. And, I think they set the course for, where we go from here.
You brought up something I was just thinking about. It seems like so long ago, but Drew Bannister was the head coach of this team at the start of the year. You're right. I mean, they had to change culture kind of on the fly. We got to see 2 months of the Jim Montgomery hockey excel at its greatest level. I'll bet you're looking forward to seeing a full season of Monty.
You are, and as you could see from the play, that doesn't happen overnight. Monty can't just walk in the door and everything. And you could tell at times he was kind of frustrated because, he expects it to happen right away, and it just doesn't. But they got there, and it's a wholly different way of playing. As guys will say in their interviews and outside of interviews, going from a situation in which people are, kind of playing for their next contract, or they're playing, they love their teammates and all that, but it's just not the team mentality that you want, and moving from that to, a commitment to play for each other, to play for the team, to give up, to make sacrifices for as an individual, whether it's points or shots taken in your ankles, to do things that are going to help the team rather than oneself. also just a commitment to hard work. And like Monty puts it, seeing that working hard, playing hockey is fun. And putting in maximum effort, not just enough to maybe win. I think that was a huge change.
I think a hockey season can be a lot of fun to get those surprises along the way. Dylan Holloway, while we knew he was going to be a good player, turned out to be a tremendous forward for you, and probably you suffered the loss of Holloway a little bit, even though you took Winnipeg to the very end. And then the other one I think about is Nathan Walker. He was like a missile out there, just hitting everything all season long. I wonder who the next surprise will be, or who the next emerging player will be for the Blues in 25-26.
Well, I think we saw one of the candidates, one of the guys who's likely to be that for next year. You got to start on it this year in Snuggerud. I mean, I don't want to go straight to Snuggerud because there are so many veterans that played so well and raised their game in the end. Robert Thomas and Kyra was playing great, and Shen and a lot of other. But if you're talking about, who's the next person to surprise, I think Snuggerud has already started that. I was really blown away by how seamless his transition was from college hockey one day to fitting in on a top line in the NHL the next. That was impressive.
It was. There was a lot of buzz about him, and he certainly lived up to the hype. Tom,
and then some.
Yeah, no doubt about it. Tom, when you look at this change that is coming at general manager from Doug Armstrong to Alex Steen, what do you see there? And what have you seen in Steener since that announcement was made? What has he done to prepare himself for that next task?
He has just immersed himself in, all things, general manager type duties. I mean, he is just soaking things in, and he does it in a very thoughtful and prepared way. He doesn't just sit there and soak it in. He then gives it some thought and goes through things, and then comes up with, the kind of much more sophisticated question than you might, if you're just kind of doing this casually. He's a very, very capable person, and very, very focused on, what's going on now and the task ahead of him. And, we have Doug there, obviously, working very closely with him, and still will after Steener takes over as GM.
Tom Stillman, the chairman of the Blues, is with us. You're a hockey fan yourself, so I'm sure you can relate to hockey fans and what they go through. That was a tough one to take, obviously, in Game 7, but they have come out in droves to see your team, to talk about your team, to support your team. What can you say to them as you move forward into this next season, coming off that exciting season that came to an abrupt end?
We couldn't be more grateful and more thankful for the support of our fans. The ones I talk to, and I run into fans and talk to them at the arena and elsewhere all the time, and it's so many of them say, we get it. We get the process you're going through. You've told us what it is. We support you. You're doing, we're there. And they have been. And, and so it felt good to reward them with that run and, give everybody a glimpse of what's coming in the years ahead. But it's, again, for fans, for our sponsors, for all of our supporters, the message is one of tremendous gratitude.
And just one final thing, Tom, you look at the bigger picture, even bigger than the Blues, I feel like sometimes, is the hockey culture that you've created in the Midwest. We saw the Frozen Four here. We saw college championships here. We've seen on many different levels hockey competitions happening in the area. I know that was a goal of yours and Chris Zimmerman's moving forward.
Yeah, and we had the women's professional league game, and girls hockey, young girls hockey is really coming along here. That's important to everybody in the organization. Throughout the organization, most people are real hockey, and we see that as part of our mission is to grow the game of hockey in the area, and so we're really happy to see that happening.
Had a lot of fun there with my daughter, as a matter of fact. We went to the championship of the Frozen Four, but I know that her eyes are open to hockey. She said to me the other day, she said, "Dad, my favorite sport, you know what it is?" She said, "It's hockey." She's hooked. So there you go.
She shows very good judgment.
You've converted her. Thank you for all that you do for us. It's always great, your accessibility and your availability to talk to us. And we look forward to the next time, Tom Stillman.
So do I, Tom. Thanks very much.
We'll be back with much more. Sports on a Sunday Morning continues right after this.
Another RX Watch, brought to you by Onder Law.
Welcome back to RX Watch. This alert is disturbing.
Right. A while back, we learned that companies like Johnson & Johnson use a mineral called talc in baby powder and other products.
And studies show that talc, when used for feminine hygiene, can cause ovarian cancer.
Now listen to this. RX Watch has learned that the talc they use is being mined in China.
Right, and talc mined in China contains heavy metal contaminants like chromium and magnesium, which are known to cause cancer. But China doesn't care.
So China gets the jobs and we get contaminated talc in our baby powder.
And ovarian cancer.
Right. With their specialized tests, the medical team at Onder Law can help you know if your ovarian cancer was caused by talc.
Onder Law has helped women for years with free and confidential consultation. You need to call Onder Law's pharma attorneys at 1-800-RX-WATCH.
Call Onder Law at 1-800-RX-WATCH.
That's 1-800-RX-WATCH, or go to rxwatch.com.
The choice of a lawyer is an important decision and should not be based solely upon advertisements.
This afternoon, the Cards, the Royals. Cameron Total Access, 12:15. Cardinals Radio, 104.1 FM, KMOX.
We all hear the radio ads about the IRS. They tell you to be afraid, to be scared, and they try to frighten you into calling. I'm not here to do that. Tax Relief Advocates is different. TRA is here to tell you that if you owe money to the IRS, whether it's $5,000, $50,000, or $500,000, we have a solution. It doesn't matter if you're sitting in your car, at work, or with your kids. No matter where you are, call now. 800-575-6481. Don't lose hope. TRA can eliminate or reduce what you owe to the IRS. Generous programs are now available that can give you a fresh start. Our passion is taxes and helping individuals fix their IRS problems. We have over 1,000 5-star reviews on Google and an A+ with the Better Business Bureau. You don't need to be afraid of the IRS any longer. End your tax nightmare today by visiting us online at TRA.com or call 800-575-6481. That's 800-575-6481. Tax Relief Advocates. Real solutions for real people.
The trusted voice of St. Louis. KMOX AM St. Louis. KMOX FM Hazelwood. Always live on the free Odyssey app.
This is CBS News on the Hour, sponsored by O'Reilly Auto Parts.
I'm Peter King. Pope Leo's installation has provided the backdrop for talks between Ukraine's leader and the high-level American delegation attending at the Vatican.
Vice President Vance, Secretary of State Rubio, and Ukrainian President Zelensky met to discuss Russia's ongoing war against Ukraine. It happened after Zelensky was granted an audience with the Pope following his inauguration. A spokesman says Vance, Rubio, and Zelensky spoke about the situation on the front and the possibility of sanctions against Russia. Amid the talks in Rome, President Trump and Russian President Putin are scheduled to hold a phone call tomorrow about the war in Ukraine. Linda Kenyon, CBS News, Washington.
As for the Pope's big day, it included his installation, his first Mass, and more. Here's CBS's Sabina Castelfranco.
Pope Leo XIV first made his debut tour of the square in an open-top Pope-mobile, blessing a cheering crowd, waving American, Peruvian, and Vatican flags. Then during the Mass, in his homily, Leo said he wanted to be a servant to the faithful through the two dimensions of the papacy, love, and unity.
The NTSB is investigating last night's tall ship collision with the Brooklyn Bridge. CBS New York's Zinnia Maldonado says 2 crew members were killed by falling debris from the tall masts that hit the bridge.
Mayor Eric Adams telling us that 19 people were injured. 2 of those remain in critical condition this morning. Officials also mentioning that all of those that were injured on board this ship. No one fell into the water.
Investigators say the ship had just left a pier in Manhattan. It was supposed to have been headed out to sea, not toward the bridge. An early report says the pilot reported losing power. It's a partly sunny day in Somerset, Kentucky, where residents are trying to pick up the pieces after a tornado that killed at least 17 people there. Kentucky Governor Andy Beshear.
Friends, families, and communities of each of these individuals are hurting. And it's our job to make sure that if they'll let us, we carry their grief for just a little while. Let's keep them in our prayers and lift them up.
Forecasters say the Somerset tornado had winds as high as 135 miles per hour. Twisters are blamed for 27 deaths in Kentucky and Missouri. Another tariff warning from the Trump administration after the temporary pause for 18 countries. Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent on CNN's State of the Union.
President Trump has put them on notice that if you do not negotiate in good faith, that you will ratchet back up to your April 2nd level.
This is CBS News.
Think O'Reilly Auto Parts for all your car care needs. Get the parts and service you need fast from the professional parts people at O'Reilly Auto Parts.
At 11:03, 70 downtown, sunny skies. Good morning, I'm Scott Jagow. Our top story, continuing coverage of the aftermath of Friday's tornado and storms. Missouri Governor Mike Kehoe toured areas of the North City ravaged by an EF3. He spoke with Ameren's CEO and said more linemen would be coming in if necessary. The governor also spoke with Homeland Security Secretary Kristi Noem,
who wanted to assure us that FEMA and Region 7, who we operate under, who has already been in contact with our state emergency management agency, stands ready to help us.
Governor Kehoe says his staff has also been in contact with the White House since Friday night.
We already mobilized everybody from the department. We're going to continue to do 12-hour tours to make sure we can maximize our coverage out there.
That is St. Louis Police Chief Robert Tracy on his department's efforts to keep crews working on storm-ravaged areas.
We'll be out there with our lights doing grids where we go through all the neighborhoods. And then we're not forgetting about the rest of the city, because there's things that go on throughout the city that were impacted, and there's also calls for service. So we're going to make sure both places are taken care of.
He says the purpose of the curfew from last night, which was 9 p.m. till 6 a.m. this morning, is to keep first responders and other people safe. Of the 5 confirmed deaths in St. Louis, one of them was at Centennial Christian Church, and Melby Rice lives next door. He describes what happened to his house.
The whole wall in the back, it came in and it fell in on the bed, right where I sleep at. If the storm had been at nighttime, it have fell on me and killed me dead. It just happened early in the day.
Since thousands of people are still without power, charging a cell phone is probably not possible for some. But Congressman Wesley Bell says he and his staff have worked out a deal with Verizon.
Make mobile charging stations with Wi-Fi available starting tomorrow at the O'Fallon YMCA at 4343 West Florissant Avenue. Also, Verizon, I'm happy to announce, is making a $10,000 donation to the Red Cross.
Those Verizon charging stations will be ready starting today. Bell says if you need help, call his congressional office at 314-955-9980. Now let's hear the forecast. There are some storms in it.
KMOX AccuWeather. After clouds to start will turn out partly sunny today, a high of 79. Drenching storms move in late tonight, especially north and west. Some of those storms could be severe as well, low 62. Both tomorrow and Tuesday, limited sun with a few rounds of gusty thunderstorms, high both days 79. I'm AccuWeather's Bill Decker on 104.1 FM KMOX.
Thank you, Bill. Right now it's 70 in St. Peters, the same in Florissant, 70 sunny skies downtown. I'm Scott Jagow, KMOX News.
From KMOX Sports, this is the Gray Bar Sports on a Sunday morning. Gray Bar, your distributor for electrical and datacom needs. Now from the Stifel Financial Sports Studio, here is Tom Ackerman.
Scott, thanks very much for that. Last thing we need is a storm. That was in the forecast. So we'll continue to monitor that, and our hearts and prayers go out to the St. Louis community. We continue to support and direct you to KMOX.com for all of the resources if you'd like to make a donation. The Cardinals with a win yesterday, 1-0 over the Royals. The Battlehawks with a win yesterday, 29-28 over Birmingham. But City lost by a final of 3-0 to Minnesota. Lutz Pfannenstiel, sporting director for City, will be with us at 11:15. I know a lot of their fans are anticipating that interview. He is going to join us at 11:15. John Mozeliak at 11:30 and 11:45, Bernie Miklasz. So a big hour coming here on Sports on a Sunday morning. Couple of things that have happened today. Number one is that the SLU baseball team is in the Atlantic 10 tournament and is the number 3 seed. They will face Fordham in their first game on Tuesday night in Virginia. The SLU softball team lost yesterday to Indiana and fell out of the NCAA tournament. They had lost the previous game to Arkansas. That's a double elimination tournament, but a great season for Christy Canoyer's team. First ever A10 championship, first ever NCAA tournament bid. We're starting to hear that a lot out of SLU, especially on the women's side. The women's basketball team winning the A10 tournament a couple of years ago. The women's soccer team with their incredible run of success, and on it goes. So congrats to Christy Canoyer on a great season. The Preakness was won by Journalism, came from behind and won it. The odds-on favorite was bumped by Goal-Oriented near the quarter pole. Looked like another second-place finish was coming, but Journalism ran right by Gosger and gave trainer Michael McCarthy his second win in a Triple Crown race. The NBA, you have Denver and Oklahoma City playing Game 7 today. Oh, but Craig Berube and the Leafs are also playing a Game 7 against Florida. I've always had a heart for the Toronto Maple Leafs because, like the Blues, for a long time, those were the two teams with the longest drought in the NHL. Now it's the Leafs. They go back to 1967. And I've always wondered, what would it be like if the Leafs won the Cup? How crazy would that celebration be? Well, they're one win away from getting to the Eastern Conference Final, and they'll have to play Carolina, a really good team. But they got to get by Florida first. The defending Stanley Cup champions had a chance to knock the Leafs out and could not. So Toronto and Florida playing also a Game 7 tonight. I wanted to also mention this, that over at Worldwide Technology Raceway, as you may know, I am in a partnership with them where I've been working with them for quite a while now, several years, where we attempted to track down NASCAR and get a race, and we were able to do that. The NASCAR Cup is coming to Worldwide Technology Raceway again. This will be the 4th time, and this time it is going to be a playoff race, which is super exciting for everybody involved. It's going to happen in September 7th, that's Sunday. But before that, they've changed the date of the IndyCar race. If you didn't know, the Bommarito Automotive Group 500 is now on Father's Day. And even better, they made the announcement earlier this week that the IndyCar race is going to be nationally televised on Fox, so they get a prime time 7 p.m. start. It was supposed to be a day race. It has been moved to a night race. This is a huge deal, not only for IndyCar, but it's a huge deal for St. Louis and Madison, Illinois, to get that kind of spotlight. You just don't get that every day. And so IndyCar and Fox will televise the race at Worldwide Technology Raceway. It's going to be the first Sunday primetime race for IndyCar, and it's going to be ours. And they do that so they avoid going up against NASCAR. So NASCAR has a Cup Series race in Mexico City on Sunday afternoon, and that one, I believe, is on Amazon Prime. Yes, it is. And then here in St. Louis, we get Fox, the big Fox, as they like to say in the industry, as they will have the Bommarito Automotive Group 500 on Fox 2. That's going to be huge for St. Louis and for IndyCar and for that racetrack especially. So congrats to them ahead of time. Hope for spectacular weather on Father's Day and that you're able to get to the race and enjoy a day's worth of festivities. And then when the sun sets and Chris Blair, the general manager, gets his pyrotechnics going on the backstretch and you have the fireballs up in the air and the cars going around the track, it is a sight to see. If you've never been to an IndyCar race, it is well worth your time. If you can't get tickets or get to the Indy 500, I'm telling you, you will have a blast at the one right here at Worldwide Technology Raceway. The drivers love that track. It's not a short track, and it's not a big oval. It's kind of medium-sized, tight turns 1 and 2. It opens up, and it's a little more flat, turns 3 and 4, so they can pick up speed, and then they have to really strategize going through there. Joseph Newgarden has sort of mastered it. He's won it 5 times. It is a great race, and a lot of people from Indianapolis come over. It's a big IndyCar race for them, too, so they like to drive over and grab up all those tickets. So don't let them do that. Get a couple tickets for yourself before they take them all. Because after that Indy 500, those tickets will sell fast because everybody knows what's coming up next is the Bommarito Automotive Group 500. We're going to come back, and a team that sells a lot of tickets but has not provided a lot of success here. That's St. Louis City SC. Their sporting director, Lutz Pfannenstiel, joins us next on Sports on a Sunday Morning on KMOX.
Our hometown was hit hard by a recent tornado that devastated parts of St. Louis. And now our community needs us. The radio stations of Odyssey St. Louis have teamed up to help. Go to KMOX.com to see how you can donate, volunteer, or support recovery efforts. Let's come together and show what St. Louis is made of.
Success is picking up extra shifts for your family. Now you want to be the boss. Success is getting your foot in the door. Now you want to take the next step. Success looks different to everyone, and University of Maryland Global Campus can help you reach your goals. And there's never been a better time to get started on your future. Apply now and save with no application fee. As an accredited state university, UMGC has been transforming lives for over 75 years. With more than 135 undergraduate and graduate degrees and certificates, online and hybrid courses, personalized support, financial resources, and lifetime career services, achieving your dreams is more possible than ever before. Choose the program that's right for your career goals and get started on your next success. No application fee if you apply by May 30th. Learn more at umgc.edu. Certified to operate in Virginia by Chev.
This is the story of the one. As a safety manager at a manufacturing plant, he does everything he can to keep his coworkers safe. From finding ways to reduce risks to keeping safety supplies in stock. And for that, he relies on Grainger. Grainger offers a broad range of quality products and next-day delivery, so he can always play it safe. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
This is Tom Ackerman. McKelvey Homes, founded in 1898, gives $1,898 back to nonprofits for every home that they sell. 1898. And this time around, it's to Circle of Concern, a food pantry in Valley Park. Most recently, McKelvey Homes gave back to the Foster and Adoptive Care Coalition for the 28 homes that they sold in the first quarter of the year. McKelvey Homes, McKelveyHomes.com.
Wesley Financial Group is not a law firm. If you own a timeshare, don't miss this important announcement from Chuck McDowell, founder of Wesley Financial Group.
If you receive an unsolicited phone call or mail piece to discuss selling, renting, or especially canceling your timeshare, don't fall for it. If you really want out of your timeshare, hang the phone up immediately or throw that mail piece in the trash and contact your timeshare resort or Wesley Financial Group for assistance with your timeshare. As the only Inc. 500 timeshare cancellation company, our knowledge, experience, and results has made Wesley a trusted resource for over 40,000 families we've helped get out of their timeshare. Give us a call and I'll send you our timeshare exit information kit free with the straight facts about your timeshare and all of your options for cancellation.
Call for your free info kit, 800-384-7878, 800-384-7878, 800-384-7878.
Alton's got soul. From river legends and limestone bluffs to downtown diners and haunted histories. And now, Alton's voice is louder than ever.
What a treasure it is to have like an actual like river resort town that close to us.
KMOX is now on 104.1 FM. From the riverfront to the rooftops, you're always in range. 104.1 FM KMOX, the voice of Alton, the voice of St. Louis.
Spring into a new home with amazing savings at TR Hughes. Hi, I'm Jason Hughes with TR Hughes Homes, and we are currently offering half off up to $40,000 in options and up to $5,000 in closing costs on brand new to-be-built homes at select TR Hughes communities. That's right, half up to $40,000 in options and up to $5,000 in closing costs. Visit trhughes.com for details.
The choice of a home builder is an important decision and should not be based solely on advertising.
However, you really should visit trhughes.com.
Now, back to the Great Bar Sports on a Sunday morning on 104.1 KMOX. From the Stifel Financial Sports Studio, here is Tom Ackerman.
Indeed, it is 11:16, and it is Sports on a Sunday morning. We're joined by the sporting director for St. Louis City SC, Lutz Pfannenstiel. Lutz, thanks as always for joining us on the show. How are you?
Good morning, Tom. It could be better, to be honest.
I hear you on that. I'll let you have the floor on this and just ask you first to describe what happened. I mean, what happened last night at Minnesota?
What happened was, I think, another defeat, which we deserved because Minnesota was the better team, which with a better attitude, with a better momentum, and just much more fire. After having this tornado on Friday, we wanted to go there and play for the people, and that's something which we discussed before the game. Go out there and fight and show your spirits and do that for the people in St. Louis and in the area here. But they're showing what we got, and to be honest, Tom, I'm tired, of I don't want to sugarcoat, and it's like, we could do this better and maybe we're getting here. Right now, it's very simple analytics for me. It's not good enough. It's not good enough what we're doing on the field, but also the mentality, the energy we show. It's also not something we can move on like that or accept like that, because it's a poor performance. Week in, week out, when we have opportunities like on Wednesday against Kansas, and you 2-0 up and you're throwing that away, that's painful, especially in front of a home crowd, which you expected a lot. And then going to Minnesota and getting slaughtered like that is, I have to use the word. I'm embarrassed.
Well, I don't want to sugarcoat it either. And this is a place where we can discuss. It's KMOX, it's Sports on a Sunday morning. It's been a forum for years for an opportunity to do that. So let me ask you this. Was that a carryover from Sporting KC, the way that it ended? You're up 2-0 and you lose the lead, and we know how much that is painful. Do you think that is a reason why you didn't have any life at Minnesota? One of the reasons why.
Yeah, it's a Wednesday game, and it's one of the biggest games for us because against Sporting KC, it's always it's different. You play for the pride, you play for the people. That's one of the games you have to win and you want to win, especially at home. And coming out short from there, where again, we were like everybody seemed to be so happy with the first half and we 2-0 up. But let me tell you also that the first half against Sporting was not that good either. The result looked very good. And it's going on week after week after week that we do not get the performance, we do not get the potential on the field. And yesterday I thought, to be honest, I felt now being in the league for 2.5 years, that's the lowest point where we can be, and we need to really look into that to get out of that misery, move on, move forward, improve piece by piece, and also, and most important, and I think that's also a clear message for everybody out there, we need to stop thinking about the playoffs right now, because this is the wrong approach. We need to start thinking from game to game, get solid, get some confidence back, win games, and then once you have that process done, you can start dreaming again about playoffs, because right now, we're just not good enough to be a playoff team, and we need to change that. Do we have the capacity? I believe so we do, because we showed it earlier in the season, and we showed it last year towards the end of the season with the same team. But right now, no, we don't. And that's where I'm glad, actually, we're playing on Wednesday, another competition in the Open Cup, which somehow we can get out there and show a little bit of pride and respect to our ownership and to the fans to at least perform in that competition and go into the next round. and then move on in the league again. But as I said, it's no point just to throw the toys away because we have to work hard, we have to believe in ourselves, and we have to really try to get together as a unit, get out of that really difficult time right now. And we can look into 1,000 different things, injuries and whatever. Yes, we have injuries, but injury have nothing to do with getting out on the field and fight. I can have 11 injuries, 11 injured first team players. I still can go out there and fight and work hard and try my best and make life as difficult as possible for the opponent. But I didn't feel that yesterday. I felt once we were 1-0 down, we just felt sorry for ourselves, and that we need to change. And we need to get the players together, and we need to work on the confidence, and we need to work on things which showed before that we have a good team. And that's the only thing what we can do this week to try to get closer together, learn from what's going wrong, and move on, and be at least try to look very positive and what things we can do better, instead of just feel sorry for ourselves and be negative and just keep on going like that.
Your coach is Olaf Melberg. What has been your evaluation of his leadership thus far?
It's I don't think this is a good setting for now discussing the coach. I mean, Olaf came in, and Olaf got that defensive structure in place which we were missing last year. So I think that building block to improve step by step started off pretty well. But I think it's always easy to point the finger at coaches and officials. I think the accountability must be in every department and with every player individually as well. You only can come into a situation like that if it's a bad effort and bad luck and bad vibes in general. Otherwise, we wouldn't be there. So I think, as I said, we started off pretty well, especially when it came to the defensive part of the game. But right now, we coming into the point where we need to get better. And that's, I think, up for everybody to step up and do better. And that includes everybody, players and coaching staff.
It sounds like the two of you are aligned in this. What are your conversations like? I mean, he was upstairs during the sporting game, although I'm sure he was locked in on the game, as were you. It's not time to make small talk and talk necessarily, but in general, what are you two aligned, and what are the conversations like? I know you spend a lot of time together.
Yeah, I mean, it's we speak about what we could do better, or how to improve certain areas in the game. I mean, and that work is mostly done on the training field. However, right now it's not just a training field, because it also becomes a head game. When you having that negative experience from the last weeks and you haven't won for 10 games, then I think mentality or mental strength becomes a big part of the game as well. And I think that's where we're working on, where we have specialists, where we have a mental coach, where we have different departments within the sporting departments which need to work on that as well. But it's not just physical or tactical or technical. It has a lot to do now with believing in ourselves, believe in individual quality, believe in the team quality, and try to get stronger through some negative period to bounce back and do better. And I think that's most of the conversations we have, where everybody wants to find solutions. And, it's not like that. Sometimes I get the feeling people think, well, they don't want to win. No, I mean, I tell you right now, everybody wants to win. And they're working hard in training. And they came out yesterday early in the game, and the players did work hard. But somehow, once you got 1-0 down, you felt that moment again when the doubts came back up. And I think that's the things where we have to work on. And the good thing is, Tom, to be honest, having now only a really short turnover before we have to go back to Minnesota on Tuesday and play there on Wednesday, is not to think too much what happened yesterday, but look forward, move forward, focus really on that cup game against Minnesota to somehow bounce back and somehow make up for that what went wrong yesterday. And I think it's a huge opportunity for us as a team, as a club, to give something back to the people and prove that we're ready to improve and get better.
Let me ask you this final thing, because you did mention it in the beginning about the tornado that ripped through here, Lutz. You've been here for a while now. I mean, you've been part of this community for several years. What are your feelings right now looking at your city?
Yeah, I'm here since 5 years, and I know how important actually sports is, and how important our teams here, how they can actually move communities together and be there for the people, and especially after something on Friday. That's the moments when as a team or as a sports club, you really can do something positive in a very, very difficult time. And yeah, I think that's something which we want to make up for, Tom, on Wednesday. You want to use that opportunity to do that, what we missed out yesterday, to do on Wednesday. But yeah, definitely very difficult, and anything we can do as a club, obviously, as you know, we are always there to help and think about the community.
Well, we always appreciate your time where you're able to gather your thoughts and express them here on KMOX, and thank you for doing it. We appreciate you, and we'll catch up with you real soon.
Thank you, John.
Lutz Pfannenstiel, Sporting Director, St. Louis City SC. We're going to ask that question of John Mozeliak about the storm damage here, and then also his club. His club is on fire right now. We'll examine not only that, but I'm curious how you keep this player development youth runway theme moving when you could very well be a division contender. You are actually right now. The St. Louis Cardinals president of baseball operations, John Mozeliak, joins us next on KMOX.
Sometimes an identity threat is a ring of professional hackers, and sometimes it's an overworked accountant who forgot to encrypt their connection while sending bank details.
I need a coffee.
And you need LifeLock, because your info is in endless places. It only takes one mistake to expose you to identity theft. LifeLock monitors hundreds of millions of data points a second. If your identity is stolen, we'll fix it, guaranteed, or your money back. Save up to 40% your first year with promo code NEWS at LifeLock.com. Terms apply.
Sometimes I struggle to get to sleep. My body stopped for the day, but my mind is still running. So I take ZQuil.
ZQuil, the world's #1 sleep aid brand, has a range of non-habit-forming products to fit you and your family's needs. Invest in a great night's sleep for the best you tomorrow.
I'm awake and ready to take on anything.
Better days start with ZQuil nights. Explore our products at ZQuil.com.
KMOX Weekend at your service, sponsored by Air Comfort Service Heating, Cooling, and Insulation.
Just a reminder to have your air conditioner checked for the summer so you don't have a mishap and it goes down in the hottest day of the year. But it's always best to have it done. Call us, and we'll be more than happy to come out there and check it for you. And like always, if you're having your furnace checked by another company and you are told that this is the year you need to replace it, call me for a second opinion. The 0% interest is still available on most brands. Save your cash and keep your credit cards open and away from those high rates. Call me. You'll be glad you did. Bart Inman, one easy number in Missouri and Illinois. The easiest. It is 314-293-2600, or on the website, bartinman.com. Now that's Bart with a B, Inman with an I.com. God bless.
Feel like everything's clouded by doubt? Visit CaliforniaPsychics.com. Our psychics are available to talk 24/7, and we guarantee if it's not life-changing, it's free. Experience the joy of certainty. California Psychics.
Check the back seat. Check the back seat.
Gets in your head, right? Good, because every year dozens of children are forgotten in the back seat. Cars get hot fast and can be deadly, so get it in your head. A message from NHTSA and the Ad Council.
Seems everything costs more these days. Gas, groceries, and when's the last time you checked your wireless bill? When it comes to big wireless, if you're staying, you may be overpaying. Switch to Consumer Cellular to get the same fast nationwide coverage without the big wireless bill. Plans start at just $20 a month, and now for a limited time, new customers can get their second month free. Call 1-888-FREEDOM, visit a store near you, or consumercellular.com and start saving today. Plans include $5 credit for auto pay and e-billing. Taxes, fees, and other third-party charges will apply. See website for additional details.
Now, back to the Great Bar Sports on a Sunday morning on 104.1 KMOX. From the Stifel Financial Sports Studio, here is Tom Ackerman.
It is 11:30, and it's time to visit with Cardinals president of baseball operations, John Mozeliak. Mo, good morning.
Good morning, Tommy.
It's great to talk to you as always. And before we get into baseball, and this has been some good baseball, boy, the team looks good right now. But I wanted to say this, that you have lived in St. Louis for a long time, and you have seen a lot of things happen to this city for good and for bad. I'm not sure that I've ever seen anything like this. The storm and the tornado that ripped through our city affected lives, and it's very hard. I just wanted to get your perspective on it from the club standpoint, and I know that the club has set up the Red Cross as somebody that can really help.
You know, it was such a odd experience, right? Because it was such a beautiful day, and everything was like, looked like just a perfect Friday in St. Louis. And then like the flip of a switch, and for the next 30 minutes, it was just chaos. And, fortunately in my neighborhood, few down limbs, a little messy from that standpoint, but obviously not the damage you saw Central West End and towards the city. And, it's heartbreaking because, when people lose their homes or their cars, it's tough. And these things aren't fixed overnight, and it's tough. But St. Louis, very resilient city. It's had, it's been punched in the face before, and it'll come back.
It will. And I know, and thank you in advance for all that your organization does. The club has already been very proactive. And I know at the ballpark this week, there will be a lot of hearts thinking about and people thinking about the folks here in St. Louis, and a lot will be done from the Cardinals and beyond to help. Mo, this has been some stretch for the Cardinals. I mean, it has been a lot of fun, to be honest with you. 12 out of 13. They won 9 in a row, dropped one, and then ripped off 3 in a row. When you summarize what has happened here, what do you see from your club?
It's always hard to say in just like one sentence, but I think it starts with our starting pitching. They've been, taking us deep into games, which gives your bullpen a chance to always reset, be fresh, and be stronger. And then I think if you were looking for like one statement, it would be that we've had contributions really from everyone. And that's always a sign of a good team. And, I think when you're able to find ways to win, it's, obviously the mirror image is finding ways to lose. And right now we are finding ways to win, and it's coming from all different parts of that roster. And it's exciting to watch. It's, I feel like now this group has a lot more self-confidence in themselves. And I think when they show up to the ballpark, they believe they're going to win. And that's a good feeling.
That's a really good point. And some of that is the youth of this team. They're going out and having to compete and show what they can do as well. They're trying to establish their careers, but I've really been impressed with Wilson Contreras. We all saw what we saw. He had a tough start to the year. When you see him and he came roaring back, what do you see in Wilson?
I think the thing that stands out to me is, when you think back to the offseason, we were talking about guys that, we might consider trading or may want to be traded. He wanted to be a part of this. So I think he knew what we felt in the sense of we have some talent. Now can we put it together? But what we're seeing out of him right now, I think, now that he's not having the stress of catching every day, it's really freed him up from an offensive standpoint. And he's giving you really, really good at bats. And, now that he's out of the 2-hole too, he seems even like in a place where he's just producing more. So I think the lineup shift, I think is a correlation to where we are today. But, guys have gotten to the point where they are taking better at bats, and right now our lineup's pretty deep, and that's a good thing to see.
Absolutely has been. And defensively, he makes that play yesterday, digging that throw by Mason. What a play by Mason. What a couple of great plays by Brendan Donovan as well at second base. And then Victor Scott, the second. I mean, crashing up against the wall, not to single anybody out, but when I look at the word runway, that's the guy right there. Victor Scott was given an opportunity, and Mo, he has taken it and run with it, hasn't he?
Well, he was not in my thoughts of the runway, really, when we were thinking about the offseason. But I think the way he prepared this offseason, what he did, he basically came into camp and kicked the wall down. And then by doing so, he really changed the look of our club. And so when you think about when we had Siani out there, we were getting, elite defense, but Now we're getting like offensive production. And again, like when you think about this lineup 1 through 9, it can create damage all through that. And that's, a real compliment to Victor Scott. I think about that play last night, though, like that Brendan Donovan made on that double play. Like that's a sign of a good team that makes that play. And instead of just getting 1 out, you get 2. And it was a pivotal point in that game. You have runners on first and second, no outs. Then all of a sudden you have a runner on first with two outs. I mean, just the inning changed, and it's that's a compliment to these guys and what they're doing. And I think back to when you're not playing well, you only get 1 out, and that's a big difference.
No, you're right about that. John Mozeliak's with us. When Scott made that play, Miles Michaelis pumped his fist. He had a very good outing again yesterday, 6 sharp innings for Michaelis, and then the bullpen takes over for him. And Kyle Leahy, I asked Dusty Blake, Cardinals pitching coach, about Leahy this week, and I asked him what was unlocked in Leahy. What did you unlock? What did he unlock? And he said, you know what? It really comes down to he's not scared. He's not afraid. He's just going out there and making pitches. That is a remarkable turnaround. And he can really spin it, Kyle Leahy. What a season he has put together, Mo.
Yeah, I think like all of us, tend to forget that these guys are human. Some of these guys come from smaller programs. Some of these guys, when they get drafted, they're uncertain on what their future might look like. And not all of them are first round picks that have, confidence since they were 12 years old. So as you get your opportunities at the big league level, everybody adjusts differently. And I think somebody like a Kyle Leahy, who did come from a smaller program in Colorado, but got his opportunity, but now understands he belongs. And once you cross that side of confidence, then, success happens. And so I will say Dusty's a huge advocate for him, believes in him. And he's been a huge asset to that bullpen, and it's great to see.
He was once a 17th round pick, Kyle Leahy, and bumped his way up and down through the minor leagues. And now here he is. He was once removed from the 40 man, came back in 24. And here he is, a huge part of this bullpen in 25. Mo, I note that Drew Rom is making a start today for Memphis, taking on Nashville. Your thoughts on the lefty and what he has gone through?
Yeah, you can't see me right now, but my fingers are crossed. Obviously, when we acquired him, we saw him as a depth piece and could be in a variety of different roles. But, it'd really be great to see him have some success down at Memphis and get his career back on track, because obviously the last, 12 to 14 months have not gone as planned. So hopefully he can do that. And I'll certainly be watching from afar.
Mo, this is a very general question, but I wanted you to expand on this thought. Is how do you continue this development, quote unquote, runway and everything you're trying to do with the enticement that this division could be there for the taking, that, you want to go out and continue to stack wins, but you want to do what you set out to do. How do you balance the two?
Well, I think, right now we're seeing some success with the club, and that's the path we're going to go down. We came in here, we weren't guaranteeing that we were going to be a winning team, but we, guaranteed that we were going to give guys opportunities. But now we're, putting things together. And, I hope by the time we get to July 31st, it's going to be a very complicated few days. I really hope so. And obviously very excited about what we're seeing. The clubhouse really believes in itself. And, I think we'll just take that momentum and ride that in. And again, I think if we're in a position where we're looking to buy instead of sell, I think that'd be really cool.
No, I hear that. John, thank you for the time as always. We appreciate it. Thank you for the kind words and thoughtful words about St. Louis and what everybody is going through, and good luck against Kansas City, an opportunity to win yet another game. You've already wrapped up another series, haven't lost one since April 23rd. It's been some run. Thank you for the time.
Thanks, Tommy. Be well.
You too. John Mozeliak, Cardinals president of baseball operations. What a run this is for the Cardinals right now. We're going to take a quick break, and when we come back, we're going to talk more baseball with Bernie Miklasz. He is standing by, and he has also, I know, some thoughts about what has happened to his city. It's 11:41. It's Sports on a Sunday morning from the Stifel Sports Studio.
For residential and commercial heating repairs, service, maintenance, or installation, contact Air Comfort Service Heating, Cooling, and Installation. With over 50 years of HVAC service, get in your comfort zone this winter. Visit aircomfortservice.com. That's aircomfortservice.com.
Here's a few questions for you from California Psychics. Do your workdays seem to go on forever? Is your career progression as fast as downtown traffic? Or does your boss still not know your name?
Hey, you, Tina, Lisa, Sheila, whatever. Get that report to me by lunch, okay? It's Carrie, ma'am. Just get it done, Terry.
It's time to read the career warning signs and talk to California Psychics. We're always on hand to give you the career guidance you need. You see, we only connect you with the very best. In fact, 98% of the psychics who apply to work with us don't make the grade. That's why we can guarantee if your reading isn't life-changing, it's free. So you could soon be telling your boss where to stick that report.
Where are you going, Terry? Terry!
Experience the joy of certainty. California Psychics. Call 1-800-PREDICT today and get 20 minutes for just $20.
Spring is here. Time to have your valuable trees inspected by Gamma Tree to enhance the beauty and safety of your trees. I'm Tim Gamma.
I'm Tom Gamma. Don't trust your trees to just anyone. Call the pros at Gamma Tree, now in our 71st year.
Our talented staff of certified arborists can survey your trees to determine their needs, whether pruning, fertilizing, pest control, or removals at the highest level of professionalism.
Knowledge and quality are hallmarks of our reputation. Call Gamma Tree today or visit us at gammatree.com.
Your trees deserve the best care.
Life insurance. Why are you putting it off? Can't afford it? Too much hassle? Think you don't need it? There's lots of excuses for putting off life insurance. But if you weren't there, who would pay the mortgage and other bills? With Ethos, you could be covered in 10 minutes and boom, family protected. Ethos, fast and easy online term life insurance. Up to $2 million in coverage with no medical exam. Some policies as low as $1 a day. Answer a few health questions and get your free quote at ethos.com/radio. That's ethos.com/radio.
Here at the Almond Joy Factory, where tropical vibes abound, we use soft, fresh-tasting coconut.
The crunchiest almonds and delicious chocolate candy.
Ah, but do you know what our most important ingredient is? Sometimes you feel like a nut.
Sometimes you don't.
Almond Joy's got nuts and something even way better than that. Yes, Almond Joy is made with almonds and joy.
Hey guys, Glover here for my friends at Zero Res. As you know, if you listen to the show, big fan of Zero Res. They have been a supporter of the show for over 15 years now, which I hope means something, that when you guys have decisions to make on who's going to clean your carpet or where you're going to buy a car, that you understand that Zero Res has been a big part of the Dave Glover Show now for over a decade. They have a special deal every month. This month, it is 3 rooms of carpeting, deep clean, starting at $129. $75 off your air duct cleaning. We also do all types of flooring. We have a great hardwood treatment now that's not going to set you back a whole lot of money. These guys are great. They're punctual. They are professional. I've had them out to my house half a dozen, maybe a dozen times over the years. I just love them. Call them at 314-474-2020 or go online at zeroresstl.com. Say that you want the Dave Glover deal. Spell it backwards or forward to spells the same. That's Zero Res, 314-474-2020.
What does Del Walmsley, CEO and founder of Lifestyles Unlimited, think you need to succeed in this market?
It's time to buy, and so you better get prepared, you better get educated, you better get your money right. You need to get involved because you're going to need the financing. You're going to need the vendors that we have available to us. You're just going to need the interaction with people. You need to immerse yourself into real estate.
Start your real estate immersion with a free workshop live online at lifestylesunlimitedworkshop.com.
Cards manager Ollie Marble joins the Gas House Gang every Tuesday at noon. Sponsored by Siteman Cancer Center on the voice of the Cardinals, 104.1 FM, KMOX. From chili cook-offs to Friday night football, Belleville knows how to show up. And now, So does KMOX on 104.1 FM.
Cardinals get the win. They visit the New York Mets tonight. The Blues, they will play Saturday at 5 o'clock.
It's your news, your sports, your city. Loud and clear on the FM dial. 104.1 FM KMOX. The voice of Belleville. The voice of St. Louis. Now, back to the Great Bar Sports on a Sunday morning on 104.1 KMOX. From the Stifel Financial Sports Studio, here is Tom Ackerman.
And here is Bernie Miklasz, the longtime Post-Dispatch columnist, Missouri Sports Hall of Famer, and one of my best friends. It's great to have you on KMOX and also a city resident. And Bernie, this has been just a mind-blowing 48 hours. I've gone through a lot of emotions. I know you have as well.
I tell you what, Tom, thank you, buddy. I'm just speaking for ourselves. I mean, we were extremely lucky, fortunate, blessed because the tornado cut a path like literally 2 blocks from our house. We live in like the Washington University area. We're like north of Forest Park by just a little bit, and it was scary. I was where I'm sitting talking to you now. I was in my office getting ready to do the Dave Glover show, and I heard sounds above my head that I've never heard in my life. I was thinking that the roof would blow off. That's how ominous and awful it sounded. And I looked outside and I couldn't believe what I saw. So it was a. I just pray for all the people that were just devastated by this in one form or another, because it's a tough city. It's a really tough city. So we'll bounce back. But man. I'll put it to you this way. Not that I ignored tornado warnings before, but I'll make sure I never ignore them going forward.
Without a doubt. I was listening for your segment with Dave Glover. I had the radio on. I was in the carpool line at my daughter's middle school. I had my sister who was in town for my oldest daughter's graduation, which is today, from high school. And we had my nieces in the car. So I got her 2 little ones and her in the car, and we're sitting there and we're listening to KMOX, listening to the coverage, and we can see the clouds and the storm, but it feels like maybe it's going to just miss us. And then we heard the siren. And so that was when people got out of their cars and went into the school so we could get into a storm shelter. And I could see the clouds kind of swirling overhead. And this was, I think, the start of the path. It was that edge of Ladue, which went into Clayton, which approached Forest Park in the Central West End, and then cutting into North City. Bernie, it just breaks my heart to see, people like I've heard stories of a cook that all that cook wanted to do was give back to people, and then to lose their life from this storm in a blink of an eye. It happened so fast. It just happened so fast.
Yeah, on the north side, two churches. One was especially part of a legendary institution. Both of those churches did so many incredibly charitable things for the community, and they get their roof torn off, and things are in shambles, and it just breaks your heart. So. I guess it also just shows you, man. You never can take anything for granted. Talking to my wife about that. We're very blessed because it could have easily been us. And I take no heart in the fact that we were able to avoid it. In other words, it doesn't lessen the grief I feel for the people that were devastated by this.
Yeah, and it doesn't make the pain go away, but it is a distraction and a necessary one to have sports. And baseball right now, man, oh man, are the Cardinals making people happy. You know what? When it gets down to it, even those who grumbled the loudest, I think inside are having some fun watching this team. I mean, if you like baseball, they play a brand that is a lot of fun to take in.
I really have no idea. I've been very patient with. I understand the criticisms and why so many fans were disillusioned. I get all that. I get all that. But there comes a point in time when the team on the field's playing its heart out, and they're winning, and they're also playing baseball the way St. Louis traditionally has loved baseball being played. This team has incredible energy. It plays the game with joy and passion. They have fun. Yet they're incredibly intense when it comes to competing. You can tell that these players love each other. The harmony in that team, the clubhouse, the culture's great. I mean, you have Ali Marmol and that coaching staff doing a whale of a job. You know, you can see the improvement in a lot of people. Just because Gorman and Walker haven't been what they would be, it doesn't mean that the coaches have done a bad job. In fact, the coaches have done an extraordinary job. You're not going to let every single player lead them to the promised land. So it's going to take a little time. But I have no idea whatsoever why people would voluntarily shun this team at this point. You either love baseball, or you love the Cardinals, or you don't. Right?
Yeah,
and I'm not saying everyone's got to start rushing down there to buy tickets. Again, it's not that simple. But the anger. Like I've said, you and I have said this since the beginning. If you want to be mad at ownership and the front office, okay. The players have nothing to do with that. They're playing their hearts out. That should mean something. And they're an outstanding baseball team right now. In fact, you go back to April 25th. They have the best record in the major leagues, and their run differential is tremendous. They're clicking in all areas, and I don't think it's definitely not a fluke. It's just a matter of they continue to play at this highest level. But on the other hand, you can make a case they still have room to get better.
You can. That's the thing, is that this is a team that is on the rise. And again, I don't see a very low floor for them. I mean, as long as their bullpen and defense are holding down the game late, they're going to be competing in most of these games. The offense is really good, but that's the key, isn't it?
Yeah, the Cardinals, their offense has as many blowout wins, 5 runs or more, than just about every team in the majors. They're up there with their so-called big boys and blowing out other teams on a regular basis. But if they have to win a 2-1 game, or they have to win a 1-0 game, they can do it. And one of the main reasons they can do it is because the Miles Miklasz and Kyle Leahy last night, they needed some help from their defense. And I'm not taking anything away from them, but it was a night where, listen, the Royals were hitting some shots. The Royals could have scored a few runs in that game, but the Cardinals defense was like, no, we're getting to everything. That was the best defensive game by a Cardinals team last night that I have seen in a very, very, very long time. I mean, they're making plays all over the field. It's just crazy. I mean, one after another. And Wilson Contreras is great at first base. He really is. The one thing people were worried about, he has been outstanding at first base, and that infield is as good as it gets in the major leagues. It really is.
And it can be really deflating to the other team and the other team's crowd. A lot of Cardinals fans in Kansas City, but for whatever reason, Kansas City Royals fans, they just do not like the Cardinals. It might be the run of success that the Cardinals had, but there is a level of hate there. I don't think it's reciprocated. I think people like to go to Kansas City and eat barbecue and watch the ball club. Now, when it comes to the Cubs, that's a different story. And we're still over a month away from the first game against the Cubs, which is totally bizarre. But I asked John Mozeliak this, so let me ask you this. The scenario where you're in contention, they are right now. A month from now, you're in contention. You take down the Cubs. Now you're in first place, and you got the trade deadline looming. He said, I want a complicated July 31st. He said, I'll embrace that. Yeah.
Good answer. No, I mean, listen, I don't think that John Mozeliak would walk away from this team in terms of sitting out, the trade market if they're in it. But I also think we should prepare ourselves. You're not going to see blockbuster trades. I mean, you're not going to see them take a wild swing for something where they'd have to give up, people that'll be part of this team for a long time. But we'll see what happens. We'll see what happens. But man, you remember how, getting back to the way they win close games with defense, but before they retooled the bullpen on the fly, before April 25th, Cardinals were 0-5 in 1-run games. The bullpen failures had a lot to do with that. Since they put their new bullpen in place on April the 25th, they not only have the best record in the major leagues, but they are now, I believe, 7-1 in 1-run games since that time. I mean, night and day, brother, right? Night and day. That shows you what a great bullpen can do, but also we learned it really hard way. If your bullpen is bad, and the Cardinals bullpen was really bad, it can take your whole team down. So the transformation of this team is very, very impressive. Very impressive.
It is. A couple minutes to go. Bernie Miklasz is with us, and we have Cardinals Royals coming up, and Joe Pott will have the pregame at 12:15 for the 1:10 first pitch for our old friend Michael Wacha, who in 2013 made that 1-year transformation from college pitcher to NLCS MVP. It was really something. Now here we are 12 years later, and he's pitching against the Cardinals, and Matthew Liberatore is going up against him. I love this pitching matchup. This is a good one.
Yeah, I'm sorry. Yeah, it's a great matchup. Liberatore is having the most I'm not talking about in St. Louis, but I'm talking about nationally. He's having one of the most, if not the most underrated starting pitching performance of the season so far. I don't think that on a national scale, people understand how good he's been. He's been fantastic. I love Michael Wacha. I love what he did for the Cardinals. He's also a heck of a guy. And he's also a guy that shows you resilience can pay off. I mean, he had that shoulder blade condition that just derailed him and derailed him and derailed him. And he just kept at it. And he's a really good pitcher, which means he put his heart and soul into it to just get through the hard times. And I really, really have extra respect for athletes like that.
Yeah, it's going to be great. Bernie, always a great visit. I'm so thankful that you're okay. I'm so sorry for your neighbors. I drove through Forest Park or around it. You can't really get through some parts of it because they're working on it, but it is just devastating to see these trees snapped like twigs. But I know you echo me here in this last 30 seconds, but thank you to so many people who are helping right now.
That's the beautiful thing about a terrible situation. Everywhere you go, you see neighbors helping neighbors. You see strangers helping strangers. You know, everyone's pitching in. We live in a great city. I don't care what anybody says. And that includes the whole metropolitan area. And we wish we wouldn't have to go through this, but when we do, the true colors of St. Louis shine through.
Thank you, brother. Talk to you soon.
See you, man.
Bernie Miklasz with us on KMOX. This has been Sports on a Sunday Morning.
Wesley Financial Group is not a law firm. If you own a timeshare, don't miss this important announcement from Chuck McDowell, founder of Wesley Financial Group.
If you receive an